Hi, welcome to Design It with Tammy Gibbs. I'm Tammy, and today I am going to be working with Artistly 5. And this is another requested video from some of my viewers. And also, there's been a lot of talk about it on some of the Artistly groups. So I think this is probably going to be a really good, not only for beginners, but just some, people that are maybe still having a little bit of a difficulty maneuvering inside of Artistly 5 because some things moved and some things are handled a little bit differently. So this is almost going to be kind of like a housekeeping type video where we're going to play a little bit with a prompt and edit it, do some changes to it, see where Artistly sends it. I'm also going to be reinforcing, some little tips and things about how to work with your your images. So let's get started. So we're going to just click Create Design here. First, we're going to go into the Fast AI Image Designer because I think this may be where things get a little complicated. So we're just going to kind of watch how things are treated. So I'm going to go over to my personal designs just to grab a design that I can work with. And so let's just say, let's see which one we want to deal with. Okay, let's just say we want to do something with this one. So, all right. This was my bulk action, so I can't do it with that one. Hang on just a second. Let me grab another image real quick. Let's go over here. Let's go here. Okay. So let's just say we want to take this image, and you see that when we click on it, we can fix the image. This is going to change this. It's going to use a totally different, it'll use the same prompt, but it's going to use a different, it may turn out different. So just because you fix the image, it may not keep the styling. It may be a totally different style. So we're going to do fix the image and see what it comes up with. It's really great when there are images, though, that you really don't care for. So it's still a really good tool. But let's just, okay, so here it actually did kind of change it a little bit. Let's see if we can go back and look at, now, this, where it says style, is going to say fix image, okay? And it used the AI image designer. So it used, I guess, version 5. Okay, we can now put that into a folder. We can put this design now in a folder. So we'll just go back up here and put it in this one here, and it's going to move that to the folder. Now, a lot of people have been questioning this, and this is just the way Artistly is. They have not changed it yet. When you're watching this, it may be totally different, but so when you create a new image and you move that image, or you create from an old image or whatever, whenever you decide to move your images into a folder, um, to create your folders, you're going to go add folder right here. I'm just going to put video images. Okay, add folder. Okay, so that's how you add folder. You can only do it under the personal designs right here. That's how you find it. Click it here. Here's all your folders. This is where you're going to go in and look into your folders. But what happens, and a lot of people don't understand, is when you move like they have this bulk move. So we can take this and we can select all of this row, and we can move the selected, and we can go to the video down here, video images, and we can move them. Okay. But it does not move them outside of this main folder. This is your main feed, and all your images stay there. Now, there has been some discussion and some suggestions people have made as to what or how they could change this to make it a little more user friendly. A lot of people were trying to like clean it up or whatever. And so if we go over here now and we go to video images, then this is going to show us what are in those video in that folder. Okay. Then we would go back to the top where it says all images. I have a lot of folders, all folders. And then it's going to put us back in our main feed again. Okay. So another thing about when you're creating that you may not know, and if you do know, that's fine. We're just going to hit on all the high points, is that, for instance, this particular one right here. So we can fix the image. Of course, it's going to make a new image. So we're going to fix this image again, okay? Because I just want to show you an example. Okay, so there we go. So we have the two images here. Okay, so let's look at this one. Fix image, AI image designer. So where does that go? Okay, so it goes into the default, and you're still going to have to go back, and if you want it to go in that video images folder, you're going to have to move it there. Okay, so when you're fixing images like that, it's not automatically going to go into the folder that you see. We'd already moved this one, so it did not automatically put that image in that folder. Now, how do you get those images inside of a folder? How's the best way for you to start creating? So, for instance, over here with this AI image designer, let's just paste, whoops. Let's paste a, we'll just do a new one. Let's see, a bowl full of cherries, watercolor, hand drawn, sitting on a table. Okay, just something real super simple. Okay, so over here, this is what your regular new version 5 prompt looks, the prompt area looks like. So over here, what you can do is you can go ahead and select a folder. I'm just going to do jars. Just, you can select your quantity, how many you want to make. I'm just going to make one. You can do a fast or a high quality. You can change the aspect ratio. You can even use the mirror magic, or you can go in and edit your prompt here, or you can actually get it to enhance that prompt. Okay, so now it added a whole bunch of other stuff, and then we can generate that image. Okay, we already selected what folder it was going to go into, right? Okay, so we're going to see what this is, how it looks. It's just a real simple prompt. I don't expect it to be super creative. Oh, not bad. Okay, so we have this bowl of cherries now. It is already private because by default inside this it's private. But if you notice, it put it in the jars. Okay, so now we're going to regenerate from this same prompt and do it again. And then let me show you what it does. Okay, we've got another bowl of cherries from that same prompt. And now if you notice, we did not have to select that folder again. It actually, if you go in and you set your folder with your first image that you're creating, then it will put all of those images into your folders, and you won't have to use the bulk and move them. I don't do this a lot because a lot of times I'm doing videos or doing a whole bunch of stuff, and I forget to set it up. But if you set it up right, it will save you a lot of time because then you do not have to go to the bulk move. What you can also do is you can bulk delete. Let's just say we didn't like any of these. We can click on this remove selected. I'm not going to do that, but we can do that and it would remove all of those at one time. We can also do bulk download. So we can click on that and then we could download all of these. And I'm not sure the numbers. You can go in. They did add this select row, which is so helpful because you can select several rows, but I'm not sure. I think it's around 20 or 25 images. It may be a little bit more that you can download at one time. I'm really not clear on that. So I'm gonna refresh my page. Okay, so this is another thing that people don't realize. So let's just say we just want to see in our feed really quickly the images that were created with the AI Image Designer version 5. We can click on that tab and all of these images were created with the AI Image Designer 5. I don't have any designs for Script to Storybook. This is for Kids Storybook. I don't have any for Personalized Storybooks. This is for Coloring Books. I don't have any there. This is for Consistent Characters that you can kind of tab through. That's taking a long time to load. Let's go back. It's Upscaler. Product images. Okay, so there, you can quickly, if you just want to get to now, most people don't even realize that the main feed has these little tabs up here or what they're for, but that's what they're for. So you can get to some of those images quickly. So you have some choices. You can either go into the folders or you can go through these and see what you've created recently. Okay, so how does that look with the version 4 designer? Essentially, you just click customize and then type your prompt here instead, and then you can select your folder here, add any of these different choices here. But it still has the mirror magic. After you create one of your prompts, you can even go up here and do this prompt enhancer. I think you have to enter it up here to do the prompt enhancer, and then it'll come up with a tab that says create prompt. So, okay, so then the artistic designer is set up basically the same way that the version 5 is. Choose your ratio. You've got your mirror magic. You've got your folder that you can create and your quantity. Okay. Now, all of these images that are under your fast designer. All of these images that are created through here, these regular designers are going to end up in your personal designs. Now, what happens to the designs you create? Let's just say we're going to do a t-shirt design. So we're just going to do a default one. And it's also going to appear in your personal designs. So how do you access the t-shirt one? Well, there's not one up here for the t-shirts, but you can set these to a folder, and then you'll be able to find them in a folder instead of your feed. So, anything that you create, I think where people get a little confused is, where did my image go? Well, what happens is, I've literally got thousands of images in my feed because there's nowhere for them to go. And because all of the ones in my folders are still in my feed. So in order for you to be organized with this, you have to move your images to your folders, or you're going to get so many images in there, you're never going to be able to find them. So unless you go ahead and set it up for you to put them in these folders over here, then you're going to lose them because it's going to get really old scrolling through all of these to try to find an image. It's going to be hard. So anyway, So that's how that works. So let's go back in here. Okay, so all three of these are going to be in your personal designs tab, which you can access right over here. Your artistic design. Okay, your logos. Okay, let's try this. Okay, we're just going to do a default one for you guys. It also is going to generate right here in your feed, and you're going to have the option to, okay, you're going to have the option to select a folder for it, and it'll put it in a folder, and then you could set one up just for certain logos or minimalist logos or whatever you want it to, okay? Now, if you notice, none of these, this one does have a regenerate button. Some of the features have regenerate, some don't. Some you have to copy the prompt again and run it again manually. This one is also one that does private. Let's go back and look at the t-shirt one. Okay, you do have a regenerate. It's private by default. You can select a folder, but there's no editing of these, not from there. However, you can edit from that point right there. Okay. So here we have this, and it's in your, it moves it into the advanced designer. And then what can you do with it at this point? You could upscale it directly from this part here. Now, what happens if you upscale it here? A lot of people want to know where these images go to when you use the little pencil and you edit it. So here you'd have to click on that to get the upscaled image. So now this one is upscaled. Okay, so now what do we do with it? Where did it go? We're going into the media library. I'm going back here to AI generated. Okay, so now this image is here. Now, it is not like these images where you can see your prompt and you can recreate from it. So you don't have that option. The only options you have are use the image, move it to a folder, or remove it, okay? So once you edit it, it's going to be in this media folder here, the edited version, and you're going to have to download it from here so you have the PNG or the JPEG options, okay? Something else that you can do, and I've not tried it with an upscaled image, but this text editor, let's just say we want to, okay, we want to, this is misspelled here. Now, this is not going to be the same look. So this says be your, so we could correct that. We can center it. And the on, you know, like we could change the color of it here to purple. We can change the font. Now, unfortunately, you cannot, we can bold it. We can do a drop shadow on it. These are some choices of how much drop shadow and everything. So we can do things like that. This is a really good feature if you have like a little sign inside some of your clip art that it doesn't really matter. You don't want it to look exactly the way that it created it. But you do need to correct something. So it's a cute image and you can, you know, you need to just edit something. So here we've got this. We can change the different, we can change the colors again. You can go through and look at all the fonts that are available. Now we can change the color again, maybe do it like that. So there are, you can play with this. That's not too bad. You can even enlarge it and move it around. Now, sometimes it won't grab all of it, but like I said, you can play with it. So that's just an example of that. So now what you're going to get is that's the upscaled one. Sorry about that. You have to be really careful because what happens is you have to save it. It's not going to save your edits in your media file. So there's that. So you have your original. So here's the one here, but it did not save it. So we're going to do save changes, but it's still not going to put it over here, I don't think. See, it will not put that in your media file. If you make changes here, you're going to have to just go ahead and export that out. And we're going to go out to back to the dashboard. And back in here, and you're going to see that those changes do not come over here. So that is not going to be over here. So if you use this, it's going to end up in the thing, and whatever edits you do to it, you're not going to further be able to edit from that specific one. You're going to have to go ahead and download it, or you'll have to come back over here and edit, get a new copy that it'll send over there. So those are kind of your choices. And then, of course, this is your download button. Most of you have already figured that out. But anyway, so let's go back over here. So that's how you do that, and how doing your edits, like where you're not going to be the ones that you have edited, you're not going to be able to access those inside. Well, you'll be able to access your original, but if you make changes to it over in the advanced area, it's not going to save those like that. So if you do edits, then they're going to be gone forever if you do not download them immediately. So that's just kind of a little thing. They may tweak it and work on that. You can even send in a request that those particular edited ones are available. Now, what kind of edits can you even do? So let's go back into the personal designs and go back into the fast AI design. Okay. Let's choose another image, and let's do this one. Get the little skunk. So see, this is my way of editing. So that did apply a little bit of, we're going to take this whole prompt now. We are working right now in regular AI image designer, and we're going to take it into the artistic one and let you see the differences. Because if you're not getting the image that you really want, then, try a different designer, because there's so many different versions of them. You're going to get a little different look with every time that you tweak. But even when you tweak, you're going to get a different look depending on the designer that you're actually using. So a lot of people get stuck with one designer, and then they get frustrated because they're not getting the results that they really want. And a lot of times they can take the same prompt. See how cute that is? Now see, that has turned it into more of a vintage palette. And so we've gotten a totally different artistic look. Now, what we're going to do is go over to the AI Art Illustrator and go to the watercolor here. And let me show you what that same prompt's going to yield you there. So we're getting a little bit of the mechanics as well as the all of the where everything goes kind of thing. So here we've got the same one, and we've got this faded vintage. Now, what if we want to change that? We're going to regenerate it in the same watercolor style. We're going to take this out here, and we're going to go back into the playbook, and we're going to find something different. This water stains and drip marks. Let's go into it. We're going to paste that right in the beginning. Excuse me. Okay. And then, see, this is what really editing to me looks like, because I'll do my prompts that way. So this is giving you a different little look, and it's got all the little splatters and drip marks and things like that. So you're getting a different little look. Now this one has it all around this way. This one is like a little bit more precise look. And it's also got these earthly warm ochres and everything that I'd already added in there, and the textured paper and all of that stuff. So if we go back, we can, we didn't take any of that out. So if we wanted to go back and we wanted to, let's find something else. Let's see. Let's apply this to this puppy. Okay. We're going to take it in to that AI Art Illustrator, take it to the watercolor portrait. We're going to poke it right there. We're going to add this faded vintage palette to it. Okay. I'm also going to go in and I'm going to grab one of the other playbooks. Hang on just a second. Let me grab it because it'll be really good with this to show it. Okay. Volume 2. Okay. One. Okay. Go to 6. Table of contents. And then we're going to go to this nature and wildlife art. And we're going to do the detailed feathered textures or the realistic wildlife illustration. We're going to add it. Okay. I'm just going to doctor it a little bit. Okay. And then we're going to generate. And you remember what our puppy looked like. So we're going to see how that transforms We're still in that watercolor style inside the AI Art Illustrator. Now see what a difference between this puppy and this puppy. That's a good bit of difference here. So that's the art of the playbooks and how you can transform your prompts into amazing images by just popping in different descriptors, phrases, and words, and learning how to use those phrases and words to communicate with the AI. Now that to me is just a cute little puppy, vintage looking. It has the more detailed. You can even go further. Volume 2 has this wildlife section here where you can even do this detailed fur that you can copy in, and depending on what you're wanting to do with it. And then we're going to regenerate and put this here, detailed fur, and fine intricate hair strokes. And we'll just erase the feather because we don't want the feather in there. Fine intricate hair strokes. And then, like I said, you can continue to refine it and edit it. And this is how I do my editing. So I'm not usually doing the actual image itself. I'm just changing my prompt to get a similar. Now, it's not the same dog, of course. I know that. But it does give us the more detail here. Now, could you potentially, I actually haven't even tried this. Could you go in and tweak that particular image? I mean, it's possible. Let's copy this. Let's take this little dog right here, and we're going to go into maybe the photo editor, or I don't want a pet stylized like that. Nope. The photo editor, and choose from the library. Let's choose this little dog and just say apply this to this image. There we go. My computer froze for just a second. Sorry about that. So we're going to see if this works. I think it may work, and if you're wanting to do edits specifically to the image itself, then this may be the way to do it. Aha! It did. It applied the detail, but it kept the same dog. Now, the coloring and everything, um, I picked up on this faded, so that's why it did that. So let's go back in there. And let's do it and erase that faded and see if it just gives more detail. And you can tell it is a little bit more detailed. Same dog, but a little bit finer with the all of the fur and everything. So let's go back into the photo editor. Let's choose from the library again and choose this little puppy again. And then what we're going to do is we're going to paste this in again, but I'm going to remove the word faded because I picked that up by mistake. And let's see now if it just applies it without darkening and fading out the image. But I believe that if you really want to make edits specifically to the image you've created and you want to sort of stylize it or change it, I think that the photo editor is going to be where you're going to want to do that. Oh, no, that is not at all what we wanted. So, oh, I know what I did. Okay. That was me. That was my mistake. Let's go back and see what my wording was. Apply this to the image. I didn't apply to the image. So let's do it again. So you have to be careful what you're doing. I wasn't paying attention. Okay, back to the library, back to our puppies. This one, you have to tell it to, okay, so apply this to the image. And then paste it in and then remove faded. And now generate it. Because we definitely did not get we did not get our puppy. So let's see if that worked this time. Oh no! What in the world? I'm very confused why it is not doing when it was doing before. Okay, so I'm going to try to figure this out. Okay. So, all right. Let's go here. Let's see. Apply this to this image. Okay. So let's go back in. Select the photo again. Go back in here. And let's refine our prompt. Okay. Keep this image the same, but apply this to the image. Okay. Okay, there we are. It did it that time. Okay, so you need to keep this image the same, but apply this to the image. I don't know why we had to change that up after we had done it the first time, unless the AI just got confused. But we do have our same little dog now. We have applied the intricate detailed fur hair strokes and everything to it. We already had the realistic wildlife illustration, but this just made the details a little bit more prominent. And it is much closer. It's actually a little bit brighter than our original image, but that's okay because it did apply these other things on it. So this would be an example that we could, you could change the color of the bow. Maybe we try that. We're going to copy this. Actually, it still said faded on it. So let's see what it didn't actually fade it because we changed the front of the prompt. So the fading that it did was a little bit different. So let's go back in. Let's try it again. Photo editor, choose from the library. Choose this little puppy. Click right here and remove the faded. Change bow color to pink. Well, kind of not pink, but probably because of the, it made a purple bow, but it did change the color of it. But you can see that the image itself has even gotten more highly detailed in the fur and everything. So, but it is still the same little puppy dog, just with that different application to it. So, I'm going to go further and see if we can remove the bow. We can't regenerate it, so we have to start back over. Okay. Library. We're going to choose him this time. We're going to paste our prompt back in, but instead of change bow color to pink, we're going to say remove the bow. Oh, it just changed it all the way again. Probably because I told it to keep the image the same, but removing the bow would not be doing that. Changing the color was a different thing. So I think that that's the intricacies that we have to deal with. So let's go back in. Nope, didn't want to hit that. Let's do this. Let's go back into here. And this time, all we're going to do is ask it to keep the same. Well, we're not going to do this. We're just going to say remove the bow. It's all about the wording, guys. All about the wording. You change a simple word, and there you go. There he is without the bow. So AI, it just doesn't think like we do. So sometimes we say things that completely change our prompt, completely change our whole way of looking at things. And so that's why it's very important to learn to prompt and learn to prompt in a way that you're communicating with your AI, whatever AI that happens to be. And so anyway, I think that was pretty successful. So I hope that you've enjoyed this video, that you've learned a little bit about how to find things, where it stores things, some of the just things that people miss when they get started. They just assume that, they assume that when they move things from the main feed that they're just going to be in the folders and they're not going to stay there. Another thing that you need to remember is if you delete it from your main feed, even though you moved it into a folder, it is also going to remove it from there. So don't do that because you're going to lose your images that way. And I know some people that did that. So if you want to delete something, you're going to be deleting it permanently. One more thing before I go. I have and let me just show you what it looks like. This is something that I recommend everyone have. Mine is done inside Canva. You could have a free Canva and you can still use it. So, and I actually have this in my Etsy store. So, it's called the Prompt Keeper, and this is just a sample of it. I have different ones for different things set up, or some of them I have more images in than others, but it comes already pre-done with about 100 pages that you can play with. Let's go into this one, and mine's all mixed up because that's just me. I just do it that way. So you can see kind of how it has the boxes here. Let me show you how I use it. Okay, so you would upload your picture, your image. You would then drag your image. In this case, because of the way it is, I'm probably just going to, you would drag it here. And over here you can, sorry, I picked out the wrong one. Here, let's do another image that's not, let's do this one. So you would drag your image. Most of the time I don't even, if I can pretty much see what the image looks like. I don't bother making it bigger or anything like that. But you can adjust these things. You can ungroup them. They're grouped, but you can ungroup them and you can actually make the boxes bigger. Like this one right here, I need to make it go down like that. That's usually what I do is I'll just reduce it, because when I go to use a prompt from here, I'm going to do select all and then copy it. And yeah, I'm going to copy this. And when I go to insert it back into Artistly, it doesn't matter what size it is right there. So that's how I do it. So here you would then go to Artistly, you would copy your prompt that created this image. And you don't have to do it with every single one, but just like with that prompt, an example of that prompt's what it produced. And kind of go from there, this is how I keep up with all my stuff offline, so that in the event that something happens with Artistly and all of my images and prompts, they disappear, which is another reason that I really recommend that you would go ahead and you would save or download all of your, sorry about that, you would download all of your images off that are good, because you never know when something may happen. And it would probably, it wouldn't be their fault. They wouldn't mean for it to happen, but it's technology and things happen. And I've been through it before, and it's no fun to lose your images or your prompts. So if you don't have something like this, please set it up. It's not super expensive in my shop if you want to save yourself the trouble. You have permission to duplicate it. You can just go over to here and you can make a copy, as many copies as you want inside this. The only thing you can't do is sell it. So anyway, thanks for watching. All of my details, there's a link to Artistly, my affiliate link down there. If you don't have Artistly already, it's a fantastic investment. You'll be able to do so many things with it. Be sure and watch some of my other videos if you want to dig around in version 5 and see what all you can do with it. And I have also links to my playbooks. I now have a way that if you're in the EU, I'm not able to sell those through Etsy because of this the safety regulation thing where you've got to have a representative in the EU, and I'm small and I couldn't do that. So Gumroad actually takes care of that. They're a merchant of record, so I was able to list all of my playbooks over there. I'll be adding some other things also, some clip art and stuff like that, since they all fall under that same thing and I can't sell them on Etsy. So if you're just a creator that just wants to purchase some clip art or some of my other products, I will be adding more to the store. Right now I have all the playbooks there. So there's a link to the Gumroad store down in the details, and you can check that out if you're in the EU. And also, the Junk Journal playbook is only available on Gumroad. There was a whole thing with Etsy misunderstanding something in my titles and tags. So, right now, temporarily, it's been removed until I can go through that process to get it put back on, because as we know, it's not just a book of prompts. It is like a textbook to teach you how to do prompts, but the wording inside my title got flagged. So I even did a video about that. But anyway, but anybody can purchase that one if you want the Junk Journal one over on Gumroad. And so far it's been going really well. So I'm pretty pleased with it. So anyway, thank you for watching. Until next time, happy creating.